answer seems to be, and Mikrei Kodesh seems to suggest this, that when do you need a bar chiyuva if you want to be moitzi a bar chiyuva? A man for a man, there has to be arvus, they have to be on equal level. But he blowed for an isha who's not mechuyev anyhow, so it's good enough you blow for her even though you're not mechuyev. Why can a guy blow for an isha? There has to be a ma'isa tekiyah. So that's what he's saying is that you need a bar chiyuva on equal level to the one that want to be moitzi. So you're blowing for a man, you need a man. You're blowing for an isha, you don't need a bar chiyuva. I think the kasha probably is better than the teretz, but what I would add, according to Lavush, his understanding is very gishmak. Because Lavush says you can't have a guy blowing, because if the Baruch Shalom wasn't mechayev him, how could he blow for you? No. When a man blows for an isha, the Lavush's tanya doesn't apply. Because the man was mechayev, he is a bar chiyuv. But we're not yet out of the woods. The next question is, when you blow for an isha, who makes the brachas? Don't forget there are two brachas, the Shemaya called Shofar and Shechianu. So we just said when you blow for a man, you, the Baal Tekeh, can make the brachas. Plus, I seem to remember, I once lay in the Megillah for an Isha, and I made the brachas. So why can I make the brachas Tkiyah Shofar for the Isha? However, that's definitely not true. There are two mistakes with that. When you make Tkiyah Shofar for a man, they make the brachas for him as well. When you blow, when you lay in Megillah for how can I make a bracha for the women? And you know what it's like? I'll give you a perfect analogy. The Mechaber says this, and it's Pashit. You could make Kiddush to be Moitzi and Isha, even though you were Yaitza. Because women are Chayiv in Kiddush, you can make Kiddush just for them. But according to many, many Shittas, you can't make Havdalah for an Isha if you were already Yaitza. Why? If you hold Nashma Patim of Havdalah, you can't make Havdalah just for them. So Kiddush, yes, Havdalah not. Why? Because Nashma Chayiv and Kiddush, there's Arbus. Nashma Patim Havdalah, according to many Shittas, there's no Arbus. That seems to be the problem with Tkiyah Shofar. Since women are Patim from Shofar, you can't make a bracha for them. I remember I'm from Megillah that you do make a bracha for them. Because they're Chayiv in Megillah, so there's a din of Arbus. And that's why both the Mechaber and the Ramah in Tavkuf, Peites, Vav, write Beferish, that if you blow for an Ish, it's fine, but you cannot make the bracha for them. So who does make the bracha? So this is an old machlokes. A lot of Rishonim hold an Isha can't make a bracha on Shofar, Lulav, or Sukkah. Ein mitzvah Isa is a mitzvah, is a partial mitzvah. It's a mitzvah, they get schar. But you can't say v'tzivanu if there's no tziva. And that's the minig of the Mechaber. Mechaber says women could do Zman Gramis, Shofar, Lulav, and Sukkah, but they do not make the bracha. The man can make a bracha, the woman can make a bracha, so you don't make a bracha. The minig of the Ramah of Ashkenazim is based on the sheet of Rabbeinu Tam that holds you could make the bracha. There's no tzivui, but the word v'tzivanu applies. V'tzivanu is Lashon Rabbim. You mitzvah Klal Yisrael. Now, if the bracha would be v'tzivani, you mechayev me, women can't say that. But v'tzivanu, Lashon Rabbim includes all of Klal Yisrael. Okay, if you have the Chasidish Havara, you might find it a little confusing. But v'tzivanu is Klal Yisrael. Tzivani is a personal bracha. This is the old machlokes in Minhagim, Mechaber, Svardim. Women will not make a bracha on Lulav, Shofar, or Sukkah, and most Ashkenazim, the women will make the bracha. The same is true regarding Shechianu. The Isha, Meshei Ashkenaz, would make the bracha on Shofar and the bracha on Shechianu as well. I wondered the second day, let's say you're blowing for an Isha, and she has no Peri Chadash, she has no Beged Chadash. Should the Isha make a Shechianu the second day of Rosh Hashanah? Now you're wondering why not? I'll tell you why not. Because b'emes there's a shayla if you make a bracha on Shechianu the second day of Shofar. And that's why many Balei Tekeya have a new Peri, or they have a Beged Chadash. An Isha doesn't have a Pri Chadash or a Beged Chadash, maybe shouldn't make a Shechianu. I'll tell you 3 reasons why not. First of all, some l'machaba shita, they don't make a bracha at all, even the first day. Number two, some say you have to have a pri chodesh. And the third reason you should know, Svardim, even Bali Turkeya, don't make a bracha shechianu the second day. Because once you are yoytze the first day, you don't make a shechianu. So maybe by women that is like a 3 reasons to say not to make a shechianu. So I asked, I didn't find this, I'm surprised, I didn't find any other place. So I asked the Rav, he says, do what it says in the Siddur. Siddur says you make 2 brachas. I thought I'll get a more compelling argument than what the Siddur says. But I just want to add, when I looked into the Sugya, there's a Shitas Rabbeinu Manoyach on the Rambam in Hilchas Lulav, Zayin Yutes. He says a mamish and a half a line, that even if the women do not make a bracha on Lulav Shofar or Sukkah, as the Shita of the Mechaba, but they can make a Shechianu. Now it was puzzling. If you can't make the bracha on the mitzvah, Shechianu, yeah, but I realized it's pashut. Why can they make the bracha on the mitzvah? Because you can't say B'tzivanu. But Shechianu is not Shayach B'tzivanu. So maybe they rely on that. I don't know. But one thing I will say, if the women want to, if the women want to make 2 bracha Shechianu, just like the minig is that we make a bracha second day, women should not be different than that. But one thing I will say, when you blow for women, there's no option of you making a bracha for them. When you laying the Megillah for them on Purim, you can make a bracha for them. Now I say you could because the halacha, the strict halacha is when you do a mitzvah for someone else, if they could make the bracha, the one that's being mekayim the mitzvah, they should make the bracha. That's Megillah, that's Shofar, that's men. So if they can make a bracha, it's better. But if not, you can make the bracha for them. That's men and not women. When you blow for men, as we said in Reishai and Gimel Dalit, the Mechaber says you can make kiddush for someone else if he can't make his own kiddush. But ideally, the person should make his own kiddush, should make his own brachas on Shofar, his own brachas on Megillah. If he doesn't want to, you're allowed to make the brachas for him. The Mishnah Berurah in Tafkuf Pei Hey Hey and the Sharatzian is Kamat Mefurish. Says what to me was a big kiddush. Let's say you're blowing for a group of chaylim. There are 3 or 4 men, whatever, a small group of men. Should each make their own bracha, or should one make a bracha for all the other men? So Mishnah Berurah quotes the Matei Ephraim that each man that hears a shofar should make his own bracha. Now it was a chiddush to me because what am to Roivam Hajis Melech? Why shouldn't one man make a bracha and he might see all the other men? So if you look in Sharatziim, he quotes the Matei Ephraim. You look at the Matei Ephraim, you'll see this beferish. Matei Ephraim says when you have a tzibur, then the takana is the Baal Tekeya makes and no one else makes. Now I always wondered, especially Chassidim and Makbid, they make their own brachas. Lamashal, they make their own brachas on the wine of Kiddush, their own brachas on Besamim there. Why don't we see a minig that when the Baal Tekeya makes the bracha on Shofar, each make their own? You're mechuyev in the mitzvah as much as the Baal Tekeya. He's not doing a bigger mitzvah than you. Why don't we each make our own bracha? So this Matei Ephraim answers that question. Since in a tzibah there's always people that can't make a bracha, we don't want to leave it that you make your own. The minig is one person makes, the Shatz makes, the Baal Tekeya makes, and Zmoitzi the tzibah. So Zok the Matei Ephraim, that's when you have a tzibah. But if you're blowing for Yechidim, each make their own. What happened to Roivim Hajis Melech? So probably the answer is the Mishnah Berurah L'Shitasa in Siman Chesiv Katan Yud Gimel regarding the mitzvah of tzitzis. We don't see one person makes tzitzis, brach of tzitzis in the morning and moitzi the yoylam. Why not? Mishnah Berurah says like Maisa, we have to concentrate and we don't concentrate properly. So Roivim Hajis Melech is a ma'ila, but if you don't listen, you're not yoytzim. So it's better each make their own. Even though Roivim Hajis Melech is a quality, but if you're going to drift off, you're going to, cholam, you're not going to hear the bracha. So it seems the Mishnah Berurah here is going with that reality, that even though Roivim Hajis Melech is a ma'ila, but when each makes their own, they make the bracha and listen, and they say it properly. But, versteht sich, if one wants to make a bracha and moitzi the yoylam, are you allowed to? There's no kpeda with that. Just make sure that each person listens. I should mention, if it ever happens, a person comes late to Tkiyah Shofar. I mean, we should never be late b'chlal, but certainly not to Tkiyah Shofar. But it's happened, a person who had to go to the bathroom the last moment, Bekitzi, he came in as they were about to start Tekiyas. He missed the brachas. It's not a problem. Take out a siddur, make the 2 brachas by yourself. Because the chiyuv on each person, they could make their own brachas. You're yaitzi with the Baal Tekiyah, but you could definitely make your own. The next question is also an interesting question. When you blow for nashim, as we said earlier, there's no doubt about it, you cannot make a bracha for them. They have to make their own brachas. The chiddush here that I saw is the Mishnah Berurah and Taf Reish Pei Tes Sif Katan Ches regarding Megillah. This is the end of Shulchan Aruch. When you're laying for women, so proper would be that Nasha make their own bracha. The Sharatzin is Sif Katan Tes Vav. He says when you have a number of women, each have to make their own bracha, and one cannot make a bracha to mighty all the women, because Zilu Bu Milsa. And he quotes a Karbanisano B'Shem Taisis. Now this is a Taisis in Sukkah Daf Lamed Ches, quotes a Taisefta, that there's a concept that when an Isha is mighty others, it's like a Bezayin. This is the Shliach that makes the bracha, an Isha. An Isha is not really mechuyev in many mitzvahs. So it's a Bezayin that an Isha should be mighty other people. The Karbanisano understood that for an Isha to make a bracha, to be mighty other women, is a Bezayin. Now Lamais it's a Pella. And I saw the Halicha Shleim in Hilchas Purim, Yotes Gimel, and the Kovetz Halachas in Hilchas Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Noraim Tezayin Yud have a Pella on this. An Isha could be Moitzi an Ish in Kiddush. Now Halacha, an Isha could be Moitzi an Ish. They both have a Chiyuv of Kiddush. That's a Bezayin. For an Isha to be Moitzi an Ish is a Bezayin. But how could it be an Isha being Moitzi other women in a bracha? What's the Bezayin? They're all on the same level. In fact, the Paiskim wonder why an Isha can't name Megillah. But the answer is, it's called Bisha Ereva. But in theory, that's when it's a Bezayin. Besides Kol Bisha Ereva, for an Isha to be Moitzi men, that's a Bezayin. But for an Isha to make a bracha for other women, what's the Chesar? So although, according to the Mishnah Berurah, women, each one should make their own bracha, but the Chayra, other Paiskim say, one bracha the Isha could make and be moitzi other women. You'll ask me what's better if, let's say, you have a few women hearing shofar. Let's say you have a shul blowing shofar just for women. What's the procedure? So definitely the Baal Tekiyah cannot make a bracha for them. Should each woman make their own bracha? Maybe we could suggest that since it's a shaila, if you're allowed to make a bracha on his man grama, according to the Mechaber, you're not allowed to. So our minhag is to make a bracha. Maybe it's better that one Isha makes a bracha, moitzi the women, and avoid that suffix. Zilu b'milsa, that we saying is not a problem. That's only an Isha making a bracha to be moitzi men. The next group of questions are absolutely fascinating because they're all questions that are simple, but the answer is not as simple. Let's say you blow shofar for children. You come home and your son says, I missed the kiyas, blow for me. There's no doubt about it, a cotton is potter from mitzvahs. There's a chiyuv d'Rabbanan based on the Gemara in Erech and Rosh Hashanah that there's a chiyuv of chinuch like on all mitzvahs. So, what's the shaila? Why can I blow for under my mitzvah son? You know what the answer is? Maybe it's a chilul yom tov. Since it's not a real full-fledged chiyuv, how could I blow shofar for a cotton? However, since we said earlier you're allowed to blow for nashim, and as we explained, even though it's not a chiyuv gomor, but an einem mitzvah is also something, so we'll say kol shkein you're allowed to blow for a cotton. Even the bala'ita that holds you can't blow for an isha, because at the end of the day there's no real chiyuv. It's a homemade chiyuv. But a cotton has a real chiyuv, albeit the Rabbanan. So taka, it seems clear that an ish could blow for a katan. There's no concern of chilul yom tov. Even like those that hold that by nashim, there is a concern. Okay. What I will say, lemaisa, and this is important to mention, this is only, of course, blowing for a katan that's higiyah l'chinuch. Let's say you come home and your child who's lo higiyah l'chinuch, who doesn't take mitzvah seriously, and that's why he missed tkiyah shofar. He says, blow for me. L'chari, there's no heter to blow for the child, lo higiyah l'chinuch. stam to have fun. If he's not getting a mitzvah, even chinuch, then that would be considered a tkiyah shaloi l'tzayir. But, and the Chayyim says in the Farish, Kuf Memal of Zayin, you're allowed to blow for a katan, that's a giyah l'chinuch. This is a real ma'aseh tkiyah. Who makes the bracha when you blow for a shofar? When you blow for a katan? So here already we should say that it's better that the child should make the bracha. For the father to make a bracha, is there really the full-fledged arvus? Maybe for a katan that doesn't have a chiyuv deraisa, maybe there's no arvus. So definitely it's better you blow for a child, she'giya l'chinuch, let the child make the bracha. Next question, I must say, is a tricky question. Until I learned the sugya, I never thought of it, but it seems very, very sensible. You come home from shul and your under bas mitzvah daughter, who's a giyah l'chinuch, says, blow for me, I missed kiyah shayf. Can you blow for your daughter, she'giyah l'chinuch? You'll say, why not? We just said you're allowed to blow for a son. Maybe here we have a problem. Is there really chinuch to mechanach your under bas mitzvah daughter to blow shofar? Chinuch for what? When she's a gedolah, there's no chiyuv shofar. How could there be a chiyuv chinuch? If there's no chiyuv chinuch, you blowing might be back to chilo yom tov. To say there's a chiyuv chinuch because she made a chiyuv, so you mechanach her to do her homemade chiyuv, it's not sensible. There's no chiyuv chinuch on a homemade chiyuv. And the Sefer Chanoich Lanar, Chav Bei Zayin, that's a Yankel of Bloi Zechayim Levracha, he taka says, to blow for a girl she'giyah l'chinuch is asa for the father. In fact, he quotes the Shagas Aryeh, and Simon Kuf Ches says, you're not allowed to carry a shofar in Rosh Hashanah to blow for a katan. Not only katana, for a katan. It's not enough of a tzorech to justify carrying on Yom Tov. So madach you can't blow, you can't carry to blow for a katan, so then certainly for a katana is a problem. Now, the only thing that bothered me with this psak was that, we don't find the place can discuss electricity or microwaves, because they didn't have it. But they had katanos, they had girls under bas mitzvah. Why doesn't any pasuk say that you can't blow for them? The Mechaber says, Ramah says you're allowed to blow for women. It could be the same yesod that we mentioned earlier. To blow on Yom Tiv, you don't need a chiyuv gomer, as long as it's not shaloi l'tzayir. So if they do it, als eine mitzvah v'oisa, als their homemade chiyuv, whatever it is, but they're doing something that's a ma'isa mitzvah. I saw the Nittei Gavriya, he stellt zu a Rav Shech on Orchen Tovkuf, Pei Tez Beis, but Bems, I know why it's not the Rav, it's the Beis Yosef. The Beis Yosef that we mentioned earlier says that even though women blowing might be chil yom tiv, but to give them nachas ruach, you're allowed to blow for them. That's why you're allowed to blow for women. No? So the Beis Yosef already said that even though it's not fully justifiable, but if they want to do it, then you do it for them. Lamaisa, I did say Chaim Kanievsky also says you're allowed to blow for katanois, for girls. So I think we could say the following: to blow for katanim that are giyah l'chinuch, there's no shayla. To blow for katanim shaloi giyah l'chinuch is also no shayla. You shouldn't. To blow for girls under bas mitzvah that are giyah l'chinuch, certainly hamekel yeshal mi lismach. Probably the best chinuch would be to make sure they come to shul and be there on time and show them the importance, so then you don't have to have this shayla. How about a katan blowing for himself? Now, I should mention, whenever you're blowing for someone else, it should be obvious, if you blow for an isha, for a katan, it has to be a real tekiah. Don't forget, you can't, someone just gets up there, it's the first time he's trying, he's going to blow for his wife. Vivait women are mechuyev in their chiyev, whatever it is, you have to blow for them. You make a bracha for them. Otherwise, you blow stam zeichel l'churban, you'll try. So you can't make it, then it's chil yom tov. Whenever you're blowing for someone else, it has to be a real tekiah. It has to be a good tekiah. But we're talking that a katan knows how to blow. Could a katan blow for himself? So I saw a chiddush pella, Rabbi Yashiv in the Sefer, and Sech the Gittin and Beis, Mashana Chavtes. He wants to say a katan that doesn't have a chiyuv, doesn't have das midaraisa, maybe his ma'isa tekiah is not a ma'isa tekiah. So it's tam blowing. It's tam chil yom tov. A katan can't do lishma, so maybe a katan can't affect the ma'isa tekiah.
So if you need a cotton needs Tkiyah Shofar, the only eitzah would be that a gadol blows it. But this, Lamaisa, it seems that most poskim are not choishes for this, and the reason the chayr is pasha. Since he has a chiyuv d'rabbanan of chinuch, whether the chiyuv is on the father or on the child, it's irrelevant. But he does have a shaykhus to the mitzvah. It is a ma'isa tekiyah. According to Lavush, midrabbanan he has a chiyuv. Why can he blow? So we're pretty comfortable to say that if the cotton knows how to blow, he could blow for himself. Can a cotton blow for his mother? Now, this is a common scenario. Many people finish davening late Rosh Hashanah. Till he comes home, the wife is waiting, she's plotting, she wants to eat. The child's home, the mother's home, so it's a perfect solution. Let them fight on the husband, let the son, the cotton, blow for his mother. If I would ask you, who has more of a chiyuv? A cotton or an isha on Rosh Hashanah? So Megillah, an isha has more chiyuv. But Rosh Hashanah, who has more of a chiyuv? Pashtus is a cotton. So a cotton l'chayr could blow for his mother. But that's not so pashut. Because the mother wants to have the full mitzvah. Albeit an eina mitzvah isa, albeit a shavya li alai chayv. But she's aiming for perfection. She wants the full-fledged mitzvah. The cotton can't do that. The cotton at most, maximum, is the rabbanon. So I saw the Kaivetz Halachas Yud Aleph Vav Mitaka says, and this members the Tveres Yisrael already says it. The Me'adam Azmanim Aleph Bey says it. That Lamaisa, that you should be choishes that maybe the Isha has more of a chiyuv and the cotton should not blow for her. And he throws in as an aside that maybe if you're choishes for the sheet is that you need a Maisa Tekiyah, a cotton could not be a shliach to make a Maisa Tekiyah for the mother. Okay. But one thing, Fakir, I wondered, can the mother who's musically inclined, can she blow for the son the cotton? So that is more obvious is a problem. Why? Because the child has a vadei chiyuv d'rabbanan. And the isha has no vadei chiyuv at all. So maybe the son has in a sense more of a chiyuv than the mother. Listen to the next question. Again, I never thought of it, but that's why we come to learn. The isha says, you know what, I'm waiting for my husband, I'm not blowing for my child, I'm going to be really good, I'm going to blow just for myself. Me, myself, and I. What could be wrong with that? So there's a Sefer, Heilig Sefer, very choshev, a Lomdish Sefer, the Sefer Yad HaMelech, on the Rambam Sefer, Perik Beis, Halacha Beis, an Enikol of the Noid Behuda. He says, L'chol HaDeis, an Isha can't blow Sefer for herself and make a bracha. Why? He says, it's not a coil of Sefer. Since she's not mechuyev in mitzvah shayfa miyakidin, how does she affect the ma'isa tkiyah? She could blow, but definitely cannot make a bracha because it's not a ma'isa tkiyah. She's not mechuyev in the mitzvah of shayfa. Now this is a chiddush. He himself, Bavarans Dagoyis Maimoni, way before him, already says that an isha could blow for herself. The Mikroi Kodesh in Tezayin Gimel says as well. He's matmiya. In other words, even though she's not mechuyev in the mitzvah of shayfa, but if she's an eina mitzvah or she made a chiyuv, but she wants to have a mitzvah of shayfa, and if she's blowing, it is a shem shayfa. It's not stam geblazen. It's not stam blowing a harmonica. But he seems to feel to make a ma'isa tkiyah, you have to have a chiyuv mitzvah. But it seems that the minig is if an ish knows how to blow, of course, that would be a viable option. A few more details about the actual tkiyah. What's the preferred time to blow shayfa for women or for chayil? So after davening, especially people davening yeshivas or by machsidim, finish very late until you come home. After davening is just not practical. Why don't we do like many do by Daled Minim? Zrizin magdimu lemitzvahs vayashkim ba'boika. You wake up, you're up by alois. You blow for the nashim by nets. Like people do, who come to crack of dawn, they take Daled Minim. You're not going to wait an extra minute. The answer is, says the Magen Avraham in Tafkuf Peites Sifka and Dal quotes a Maglei Tzedek, quoting Mariel. You should not blow shayfa, anybody, men or women, during the first 3 hours of the day, because that's the time of din. The Baruch Hashem is being done in the world, especially Rosh Hashanah is Yom Adin. And unless you have a tzibur, you better not blow shayfa b'yechivas. Now this grad is quoted in Shulchan Aruch and Tafkuf Tzadik Aleph that you should not daven musaf b'yechidus in the first 3 hours. First 3 hours is Zman Krishma. Before the Zman Krishma, you should not blow shofar or daven musaf b'yechidus. Dalad minim is a hiddur to do it first thing in the morning. But shofar is not done. Now, the question is, so when should you do it? So this is noteworthy, or maybe remarkable. The Magen Avram, unser Magen Avram, in Tafkuf Peites, he grapples with the question, when to blow shofar for a wife. So he says, the eitzah is, if you have another shofar, when they're blowing shofar in shul, run home and blow for your wife, make the brachas, and be moitzia with the brachas, and for yourself as well. So she gets a full package deal. I mean, how devoted this husband is. Imagine, he runs out from shul and blows for his wife. He says, let's say you don't have a shofar, so stay in shul, listen to kiyas, have a mind not to be yaitza, and when you get home, you'll borrow the Baal Tekeh shofar and blow for your wife and yourself at that time. Why? Because you're going to have a problem with the brachas. Because you can't make a bracha for her, and in those days, I guess, they weren't able to make a bracha, they were not learned, so you have to make a bracha for your wife. Comes again the Nazira Shimshon, it's on in the back of the Shulchan Aruch. He says, this is a tmiyah. If she's not mechuyev in mitzvahs of shofar or bracha, there's a reason for that. So, why is it such an emergency? You have to give up your mile of davening with the tzibur and blowing shofar with the tzibur and blowing ala seder. If she doesn't have a bracha, so she doesn't have a bracha. But look how the Magen Avram was focused on making sure that the nashim have a mitzvah. Leave the shul, have a mind not to be yotzim. And I always wondered, today you have a better eitzah. I think most shuls, maybe all shuls, have a break to make kiddush. Let the husband run home, blow shofar for her and himself, and make a bracha for himself and her. The answer is, besides the possible Maila B'Roivam Hadras Melech, don't forget the Gemara says that the real mitzvah of Tekiyah Shofar, Akabana Midrabanan, is Ala Seder, Malchiyas, Zechroinus, and Shofars. If you're going to be Yaitzu and running home and belong for your wife, you lost the Ikka mitzvah. So that's why Lamaisa, the minig is, you blow after davening. Now, Lamaisa, they can't eat till you come home. So either they could make Kiddush and be Toyim like men do, or you could falazach on the Chayodim and Kuf Mem Aleph Dalet. The Chayodim says that Adaita the Hachi, B'Shas et Chak, women were not mechuyev not to eat before Shaif. They were makabel the Chayiv as much as they could do it. An Isha that has to wait till 5 o'clock till the husband comes home, 4 or 5 o'clock, could be allowed to eat before Tkiyas Shaif. Agab, we do see from the Magen Avram al Kapanim, there's no inyan of Roivam Hadras Melech by Shaifa. I seem to remember there's a big inyan. Again, that's by Megillah. By Megillah, that's part of a Sumi Nisa. But by Shaifa L'chari, there's no inyan of Roivam Hadras Melech. It's also noteworthy, the Paiskim discussed this question, let's say a person has to blow for chaylim. I'll give you a perfect example. And they can't bring the chaylim down to one room. He has to go from room to room. How many chaylis minimum is enough for each person? In other words, if a person blows for his wife, so he could be a sport, he could blow 30, but if he has to go from room to room, there's a certain amount of time and a certain amount of kaychas the person has. So the mice is part of a different share, but min HaTorah, all you need is 9 kailas. The pasuk says 3 times trua. A trua has to have tkiyah lefanei lachreya, 9 kailas, and you yaitza midaraisa. Why do we have 30 kailas? Because we have a suffix. What does trua mean? Is trua a trua? Is it a shvarim? Is it both? So to satisfy all opinions, we make tkiyah, shvarim, trua, 3 sets of each of the 3. 3 times 3, 3 times, and 10 is 30. In fact, there's a remez, Yom Trua Yiyah Lachem, Yiyah, if you spell it out, Yud Hey, and then the Yud Hey is 30. Okay, so if Lamaisa Yaitza, certainly with 30 kailais, now the question is, you blow for an Isha, why does she have 100? She's different than you. The answer is, the 100 kailais that we have has nothing to do with the mitzvah of Tkiyah per se. That's part of the din of tefillah. You want to blow shayfal, arv, av, satan, whatever the cheshbainis are, but the 30 kailis are maximum regarding the mitzvah. 100 kailis is a minig lagabi davening, So if you're blowing for an Isha or an Ish at home, and they're not part of davening, 30 kailis is dai v'hois. The question is, let's say you're blowing for a chaylim in the hospital. Again, he has X amount of time and X amount of kaiches. He says, tell me whatever you want me to do. If I blow 30, I only could, let's say, cover 10 chaylim. If I blow 10 kailis per chayla, I could do almost 3 times the amount, right? So here we come to a tremendous chiddush, but I saw the Kinyan Torah Barichas in Gimel Ayin Tes, and Rabbi Yashin and Ashrei Ish Tezayin Chav Tes says it Bekitza, that there are shittas in the Rishonim that the Meshayla are yaitzu with Tkiyah, with Shvarim, Teruah, or Shvarim Teruah, all are good with the Eved. You yaitzu either Tkiyah Shvarim Teruah, Tkiyah Teruah Tkiyah, or Tkiyah Shvarim Teruah Tkiyah. Why is the minig to blow 30 kailis? Because you want Klal Yisrael should be in unison. Everybody blows the same. It's going to be very unusual. Some are blowing Tkiyah Shvarim Teruah, some are blowing Tkiyah Teruah Tkiyah. So Rabbi Voda's Masakin to blow 30 was not because you're not Yoitza if you do 10. But we want everybody to have the same amount of Tkiyahs. So here the Cheshbon is, if you blow 10 kailis, you'll be able to blow almost 3 times the amount. For more chaylim. So instead of blowing 30, you can blow 10. So Rabbi Yashiv and the Kinyan Torah say, if you have to minimize, blow 10 per chayla and include many more chayla. The Shraga HaMeir in Chayla Gimel, Yud Aleph, and Mem Hey is adamant that that's not true. You have to be chayshiv for the sheet that you have to blow 30. So if you can't blow for the remaining chayla, no. I understand Hamana Pachi. And if you want to see inside, the same shayla is negeya to someone who's moida hana. He made a ned not to have enough from the Baal Tekeya, from Shaifa. So he has to have a minimum amount of tkiyas, because Lamaisa, there's a mitzvah to blow Shaifa. How many is minimum he's allowed to blow, even though it's moida hana? So the Mishnah Berurah in Sif Cotton Chav Beis says 10 tkiyas. The Kafachayim says 30. In Tov Reish, to Santa Mishnah Berurah, Sif Cotton Zion, he speaks about a Modna Shaila, but it was like this year, Rosh Hashanah was Thursday and Friday, and the Tzibah had no Shaifa. So you have no Shaifa, you can't blow. So they made early Shabbos. So you can't have Rosh Hashanah, let's have Shabbos. And just then they came running, we have a Shaifa. So now you're allowed to blow Shaifa. But it's still early, but you're Makabel Shabbos. So you blow the minimum amount to be Yaitza. How much is the minimum amount? Mr. Berurah says 10 tekiyas. The Kavachayim says 30 tekiyas. So you see that shaila of 10 or 30 goes back to this question. But Mustavra is, if Chaylim want to hear the tekiyah shaifa, blow 10 per chayla and be saimach on that. Do you need a makri when you blow for yechidim? I looked into it, it doesn't seem so. Makri is not a chiyuv even for a tzibur, but it's a covet for the tzibur, it's a protection. We had a shaila once when someone came home very late, it was ready after shkiyah. Can he blow for his wife after shkiyah? So if you hold like a Rabbeinu Tam, so after Shkia is Vada Yoim, so why not? The question is, if already it's late, it's already Bein HaShmoshes, you're Bein HaShmoshes. So for a man, the klal is Sveika Deraisa, L'chum. But maybe for an Isha, it's not a Sveika Deraisa. Im La Yoya La Yazik. But then again, Yazik, if it's not a mitzvah, it's Chilu Yomtiv. So Lamaisa, I saw in the Mekadesh Yisrael and Kuf Ayin Aleph, he says, Lamaisa, since women do it as a chiyuv, you're allowed to blow bein hashmashis. And I guess if you value your shalom bayis, you could rely on that since it's a suffix, a deraisa, for their chiyuv, whatever it is, you're allowed to blow even bein hashmashis. For those that blow in a hospital, just to make a point or two, first, whenever you blow in a public place, make sure people know what you're doing. Imagine if you come into a hospital, a quiet, serene place, and they start hearing tkiyah shaifa. I mean, you might sound the alarm, they might call the police, they don't know what it is. So when you blow shayf in a hospital room, either you close the door, make sure it doesn't disturb others. A very painful question, which is common, you blow in a hospital room and it's not clean. It's not a makam naki, Rahman al-Islam. There's bedpans, there's other things. So of course you have to clean it up. But let's say he can't clean up the room. What does he do? Can you blow for chayla, a man that's mechoy, but the room is not naki? There's an issa deraisa, learning, davening, and saying a brachis, Hayamachanecha Kadosh. So I remember I learned this Bi'alacha more than once, and now I see how real it is. In Tov Kuf Pei Ches Siv Beis, the Bi'alacha declares this shayla. Can you blow shofar in a makom she'ein naki? To make a bracha, avadin allowed. But what's wrong with hearing shofar? He says maybe it's an avodah of Kadosh Baruch Hu, so it's not proper. But he says b'yesod, maybe blow without a bracha. Maybe it's an avodah that's inappropriate, but then again, what's the other choice? And I saw that Alicha Shleimer of Shlomo Zalman in Beis Yud Zayin says if there's no other choice, then blow for the chayla without a bracha. Stam, it's important to mention when we're talking about blowing shofar, it's a very valuable chesed. Besides the mitzvah, it's a vote of confidence that we are focused on chaylim, that they have a tkiyah shofar. And if someone asked me, his mother wants to hear tkiyah shofar, and she's not, fully lucid, she's not focused, he's not sure she's even yoitzer. So I told him, I'll tell you a bigger chiddush. This is recorded in the Sefer Alicha Shleim on Hilchos Purim, Yud Tes Aleph. Since he was bar mitzvah, he always laned Megillas Esther for his mother. His mother was hard of hearing, and since his bar mitzvah, he laned for her until Kamat Soif Yamav. Mamish, the end of his life, he couldn't lane, so he asked his Einikol to lane for the Baba, for his mother. So after the Einikol lane, he says, I think she didn't hear what exactly, all the words. Shamzamal chuckled. Since I'm bar mitzvah, I'm convinced she didn't hear exactly what I said. But for a mother, you're laying Megillah, so you're not yoitzer. So the question is, you make a bracha or not? But if she's not yoitzer shofar, but you're yoitzer, keep it up. But again, it's that vote of confidence. You're important. Shlomo Zalman, Halicha Shleim, Beis Yud Aleph, he says, in fact, it's even kedai. So let's say, at a very rare case, a tzibur has no bal tikeya, and you know how to blow. But to get there, you're going to have to walk. Of course, it's b'toich hatchum, but you're going to miss tefillah b'tzibur. It's kedai to miss tefillah b'tzibur, to give a tzibur the mitzvah of shayf. Okay, that's taka a tzibur. But to give a yid the feeling that he's mekayim a mitzvah is a chesed besides the mitzvah shabbat. We had a shayla once, someone was in a hospital and he couldn't find a volunteer. But like say in America, money talks. If for a few dollars they'll find a volunteer, a paid volunteer that is. So I always thought, like Taka said, Rabbi Yashiv in the Ashiyish Tezayin Ayin Dalid, he says it's pashut that he has to pay money. Don't forget, we learned that halacha so many times, for a mitzvah zaseh, you have to give up to a chaimish. So if it means hiring someone to walk, to blow for a chayla, that would be a chiyuv, because he has a chiyuv. I know, for a woman, maybe you could say no chiyuv, but certainly for a man, there's a chiyuv. This is basically food for thought, but someone who can't hear well, kamat doesn't hear, cheresh, or let's say someone who without his hearing aid cannot hear at all. So the question is there any way that they could be yoytz of the mitzvah of tkiyah shayf? So avada, when someone has a hearing aid and could take it off and stand by the Baal Tekeya and listen naturally, that's much better. Because according to many shittas, when you're hearing with a hearing aid, believe it or not, you're not hearing a bar chiyuva. You're not hearing the original kohen. But let's say someone that cannot hear at all is a cheresh. So I saw the Aruch HaShulchan in Tavkuf Pei Tes Siv Dalet says a chiddush. Maybe for them will rely that there is a mitzvah of tekiah without shmiyah. So they should blow, have the mitzvah of tekiah, although they're not hearing, maybe it's only a mitzvah of tekiah. It's either one, shmiyah or tekiah. So that needs to be resolved, but b'kitzur we see it's a chashva mitzvah. I couldn't talk to you.
Shem I'd like to thank Rabbi Smith for the wonderful shir. Also like to thank Rabbi Avram Spry for being menado today's shir. Will cover the simcha sachasan and today his daughter, and should be b'shoter mislachas or a lot of simcha v'nachas. Rabbi said, welcome back to all those that didn't join yet from the summer. Rucham Baboim to everybody, and we should have a gezunte year and a ksivach simitoive, and so come to Yeshivas Ben Azmanim and Yeshivas Chalamoy, the one around the Oilam that English attorney needs the support of the tzibah. Those that couldn't join by the dinner, please sponsor shiurim for thousands of Yidden all over the world. Talking about hundreds of thousands of Yidden coming to English Torah worldwide. Over 1,000 Magid Yishir, over 600 locations. We have Yeshivas Ben Azmanim worldwide, Yeshivas Chalmoid for the kids worldwide. And we need tremendous support and chizik. And please write out, you check the English Torah, and be mechazik English Torah invited to have a successful year. In this case, everybody should be zechet, aksiva, v'chasim, tov, and a good geben shior. As well as the Besmedish made appeal for the electric. Rather, check the congregation Besan to help out for the Besmedish, which is so nicely open here around the clock. a whole year. Tiskul mitzvahs. Abkhanan Markashem Marotz Kodesh Baruch Hu Zakas Yisrael. Fike Hebram Torah mitzvahs. Shenema Adan Chofes Man Tzitko Yagdil Torah V'Yadeh. There'll be a sikum shortly. Kaddish.
Amen.
Just a short summary, we learned today, Be'ez Hashem, to be mitzi, any mitzvah, but we're talking about shayfa today, it's not enough just to hear or listen. You have to have a shemeya and you have to have a bar chiyuva. A guy cannot blow shayfa, an einen cannot blow shayfa, and that's lacking in bar chiyuva. Even though, according to many shittas, probably most shittas, shayfa is not a mitzvah of blowing, it's a mitzvah of shmiya, but you have to have a shmiya of a real tkiyah. And if a guy or an einen blows shayfa, it's not considered a ma'isa tkiyah, and therefore the person listening would not be yaitza. A man is allowed to blow for, a man that was yaitza is allowed to blow for another man, even though he was already yaitza. But since there's a din of arvus means that every man is mechuyev to make sure every other man has tkiyah shayfa, so the man is still a bar chiyuva and could blow and make a brachas just for the other man. Nashim are potter from tkiyah shayfa mikra din like others, man gramas like lulav and sukkah. But according to many shittas, we're makabel a chiyuv, although there's no chiyuv, but it's sort of a homemade chiyuv. Megillah is a real chiyuv. Shayfa is an accepted chiyuv. And we explain, maybe based on the min hashemayim that says that a person cannot have a Rosh Hashanah without a shayfa. That's why maybe women are not so focused on sukkah, but more so on mitzvah shayfa. The question is, since you're not allowed to blow shaloi l'tzorech on Yom Tiv, blowing on Yom Tiv, which is not a mitzvah, is an issa shvus, it's chilul Yom Tiv d'Rabbanan. The question is, how could a man blow just for an isha? Most poskim feel that that's considered a tzorech. It's not chatei b'shvil sheyizka chavercha, it's a tzorech because she has an eina mitzvah, so she has her own chiyuv, and basically that would make it a tzorech. As long as it's not shaloi tzorech, it's mutter. An isha is enough of mitzvah that there's even a bit of arvus that a man can blow just for an isha. When you blow for an isha, the man cannot make the bracha, unlike by Megillah, that he can make the bracha for them. By shayfa, the man cannot make the bracha. And the minig of Sfardim is that no bracha is said, the man can make the bracha, and women don't make their own bracha on shofar. The minig of Ashkenazim is that women make the bracha on shofar like they do on lulav and sukkah. The same applies to Shechiyanu. The Shei Ashkenaz could make a Shechiyanu. If you have a few men together, the Mishnah Berurah seems to suggest each should make their own bracha. This way each will have the kavanah. Nashim, the same seems to be, an Isha could make their own, or one Isha could make for the other ones. It's not a bezayin, it's not zila b'milsa. Can you blow for a cotton? Probably yes, but they should make the bracha. If a cotton's a lo yigil l'chinuch, it's not kedai to blow just for them. You're allowed to, pashtus going to many shittas, you're allowed to blow just for girls, higil l'chinuch. It's enough of a tzoyrich. A cotton himself, pashtus, could blow if he does it right. He could pat to other ketanim, but it's not kedai to pat to his mother. An isha should definitely not blow for a cotton. Maybe the cotton has more of a chiyuv. We don't blow in the first 3 hours of the day. If you're blowing b'chidus, that is, if you're part of a tzib, you're allowed to, but we don't blow in the first 3 hours of the day. That's why, I guess, as by default, we blow after davening, and the women should wait patiently, and they can allow to eat if need be. The Magen Avraham has a suggestion that you should blow during the davening, but it doesn't seem to have been an accepted custom. There is an inyan to have Tkiyah Shofar as part of Musaf, and therefore, of course, men and women and children, when possible, should make it to shul. You avoid a lot of issues. You hear the Tkiyahs as part of the Musaf, but basically, the real amount of Tkiyahs is 9 Miyakidadin. Because we have a suffix, we blow 30, that's maximum. If part of davening, the Tkiyahs at part of davening has a different identity, and therefore it's up to 100, but Tkiyah Shofar maximum is 30 kailas, and if you're blowing for a chayla, if you're blowing for an isha, your 30 kailas is enough. You don't have to blow 100. We said if you're blowing for different chaylam and you don't have the energy or time to blow in so many different rooms, you're allowed to blow 10 per chayla, and therefore maximize the amount of people that will hear the mitzvah. When you do blow 30 kailas, I should have mentioned this, you blow the first 10 from Malchias, Zechrenis, the second from Zechrenis and Shofar. From Zalman says, even if you're doing it at home, not part of davening, you should divide it into those 3 categories. There's no need for a makri. You pashas allowed to blow a little bit after shkia, even though it's bein hashmashais. And an einim makam naki, you're allowed to blow without a bracha. And most important, the chesed, besides the mitzvah, the chesed of blowing shofar should not be underestimated. It's a very valuable chesed. Yes, I'm sorry. That's what I said. All the food you can say could you hear that? Oh.